Thank you all for having us tonight. Garrett VeneKlasen, born and raised in Santa Fe. A bit of trivia, my father, when he moved here in 1958, his first job was to manage the Sims Ranch before Eldorado was Eldorado. So as a kid, I spent a lot of time out here, and it brings back some really fond memories. My background, I had an ecotourism business, took people all over the world for 20 years. And then I got into conservation because the thing that defined me as a young man, and still does, is the outdoors. And my father was a veteran in World War II. He liberated Buchenwald and Dachau, and his photographs are in the Holocaust Museum. And public lands was my father's therapist, and we used to go up to the Pecos and fish on that river, and I would literally watch that river wash away his demons. And it had a really profound impact on me. And every weekend we were camping and picking wild mushrooms and fishing and hunting and doing all the amazing things that we New Mexicans do and how we self-identify. And I took a lot of people to the jungle and Mongolia and all sorts of crazy places, and my wife got pregnant and she said, no more of this craziness. So I got into conservation and I started to work for Trout Unlimited, and we did water restoration work, river restoration work, native trout work, federal and state water policy, water quality policy, and water is the issue of our time right now, amongst many others. We're in a crisis. And then from Trout Unlimited, I moved on to the New Mexico Wildlife Federation, was the executive director of that organization. And over about 5 years, we protected over 2 million acres of your public lands, including Oregon Mountain Desert Peaks and Rio Grande del Norte, Columbine Hondo Wilderness, Valles Caldera. And so my background is land, water, and natural resource policy and planning, not only on a state level, but on a federal level. And it really is my passion. It's my individual passion, and it's my career path. And so we have an agency that manages 9 million acres of watershed and landscape, and 13 million subsurface acres of oil and gas and rare earth minerals. And understanding the nuance of that policy, I'm out of time, is really important. So, but thank you guys for having me tonight.
First of all, thank you, Eldorado Democrats, for placing an importance on this race, because I think that Garrett and I would actually assess that it is the most important office in the state because of the lack of oversight, accountability, and transparency in the office. And so it's very important who we elect into this position. So I am Stephanie Garcia Richard. I'm a state legislator, 18-year educator, and chair of the House Education Committee. And a few months ago, Ray Powell, our former commissioner, very humble individual, long storied history of doing the right thing in the land office, was in this race. And he could not continue for health reasons. But he didn't want to leave his primary unattended. He wanted to ensure that someone would carry on the good work that he started. He wanted to ensure that he was supporting someone who could win the election in November, because we certainly need someone who can stand up to the formidable opponent of Pat Lyons. And Ray knew me because I was in the state legislature representing the Jemez Mountain Range. Garrett mentioned the Valle, that is in my district. I have dealt with the land issues, constituency groups that the land office sees on a microcosm in my district: cattle growers, the extractive industry, water issues, watershed health, fire mitigation, access to national forest. And I've dealt very often with polarizing issues, generational grievances. And what I'm known for in my seat is showing up, listening, and hammering out compromise. And so I want to bring that background and those expertise to the land office. But the land office is not just a natural resource management job. It is essentially the CEO of our largest asset. It is financial in nature. It is administrative in nature. It is investment in nature. And so because I sat on the budget committee in the state legislature, I have dealt with all of the agencies and groups that work with the land office and building their budgets. I understand what assets are available to deploy to make the best sustainable long-term land use decision-making at the land office. plus the fact that I am an educator. We've never had someone in the office who represents the end user, who knows what's at stake when our dollars run short. I've experienced that firsthand in the classroom. And so I want to bring to you an advocacy for education, the environment, and long-term sustainability decision-making. And so I thank you for being here.
Thank you.